Hello, everyone. Welcome to your mini session with Mind Joy Life Coaching on the Women of Wisdom panel today. I'm so grateful to be here and so thankful to be a part of amazing Women of Wisdom. And as you heard in my introduction, I'm all about being passionate with the four agreements. I've been on this course with the four agreements for myself personally since 2006 when I found them. I found them to be life changing, dealing with life circumstances in every day from, conversations with relatives to coworkers and how we react even in our own self-talk. So today I'd like to talk to you about The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. I'm also an affiliate, as you heard, with the 10-week online course, and I'll be talking about that and how it's integrated into the Four Agreements by your choice if you would like that. And so I am going to tell you about them. The four agreements are: be impeccable with your word, don't take things personally, don't make assumptions, and do your best. So, where I'm going to start is over in the area of domestication. Don Miguel says that we are in our survivor mode when we are in our domestication, because that is the story we were born into. We're born into our country, our city, our town, our family, friends, relatives, all our schoolmates. Everybody in the world tells us who we are until we get to a point where we say, who am I? Am I everything everybody told me that I am? And finally, we come to a place of now where we get to take that domestication, take a look at it, see that it's been our story. We take out what works and we leave out the rest. And how we do that is we come into a new understanding with ourselves. So be impeccable with our word is our first agreement. And in that first agreement, we're learning to learn how to talk in truth with ourselves, being in a state of being the watcher of our thoughts, asking, is this true between 1 and 10? Especially when we're not saying positive things about ourselves in a routine of thoughts that come from old belief systems. So to be impeccable with your word, the practice in every day for using the first of the four agreements is going to be, is this true between 1 and 10? Going forward into the second agreement, it is don't take things personally. In order to not take things personally, in the four agreements, we come to understand, it's come to my attention that this person is really making my energy feel different, or I'm feeling very reactive to what the conversation is, and you find everything about you feeling a little more edgy. These are times where you can practice the second agreement, especially if someone is saying, this is who you are, I look at you this way, or they're always telling you who you are. You can stop and you can observe and not be reactive to that and become more realized that it's said in the four agreements that everybody's story is coming at you. They're telling you who they are by every reaction that they give. And so it's all about them, really. It is not about you. 95% of the time, it's always going to be about them. So what's to take personal? So what is the tool and the practice for the second agreement? The tool and the practice for the second agreement is going to be becoming the observer instead of the reactor. That is a bit of a trick, but as you practice, you become more aware of allowing yourself to be triggered back into and outside rather than triggered into and then obviously going into old patterns of reacting. So that second agreement is really important in this life. Working with coworkers, living and working with roommates, family. It's all about realizing and having compassion and letting somebody have their story or hearing their words. Going forward with our third agreement, don't make assumptions. Everybody really wants to have acceptance. And so, where does that all come from when we're making assumptions about what other people are thinking about us? What is the assumption? We're always thinking what other people are thinking because we are not valuing our own rarity. We don't need to be thinking what other people are thinking if we are assured with who we are from the inside out. And so, what that practice does is make us go into asking questions. We're all a little bit telepathic. And so, in that process, we may very well be thinking what someone is thinking. But this is the time, if we want to save the relationship or connect in the relationship, we're going to say something like, I was thinking you were thinking this of me. Is this true? This is so much easier to go around realizing when we have our intuition and our telepathy going off, and it might not always be a positive that we're hearing intuitively about that other person. But what we're going to realize is we can ask. There's our tool. There it is. We can ask, is this what you're really thinking? And then we get the clarity, and then we're not jumping to conclusions. But again, that third agreement is always all about being worthy enough not to need the approval of others. It's none of our business what other people think of us. It's our business. What do we think of ourselves? Moving into the fourth agreement, we are learning about our best, and the best changes from day to day depending on how your circumstances are, how the weather is, if something's going on in the family. Some things come up spontaneously and they change a day. And so what we have to realize with the fourth agreement is what it does is it helps us get away from self-judgment. You see, the four agreements kind of all work together in a practice. So the question in the four agreements on the best, the fourth agreement, is going to be, is this my best between 1 and 10? So let's say you have sabotage of thought going on. First of all, is this true? Oh, it's not true. Oh, is that the best thought I can have? And then you realize, yeah, I don't know. I've been kind of being hard on myself lately. Let's see if I can change that around. Maybe you can go in and have an affirmation posted every day to remind you. These are all tools and practices. In the fourth agreement, when we say, is this my best between 1 and 10? What we're doing is we're providing an outlet to get away from self-judgment. Because if we say if it's our best, then we can be proud of ourselves. If it isn't our best, then we can challenge ourselves to do our best. And if it's not our best, and we really wonder, hey, why am I even doing this? At least asking the questions helps us ask so that we can realize if it's what we really, really want. These four agreements are a daily practice when we are around people, circumstances, all kinds of life issues from day to day. This doesn't happen overnight, I can promise you that. I've been studying these agreements and working them into my life from 2006. And then it just became so inspiring to me. I've coached them in one-on-one with my clients. I've coached them in the 10-week online, which I have sessions set up for that. I do them and integrate them with my 12-week session package for people working on what their best goal are and how they're going to get there. There's so much to offer in the four agreements to change your life. And I highly recommend that you look into maybe getting the cards. There's a deck of cards that goes with it that are the actual book. And then also it comes on audio, the book itself, and then of course the 10-week online course. There will be a link for you to go look at that, and please do so. There'll be a video or 3 or 5 for you to go through and just get an experience of how they express how the four agreements will change your life. They say, why are the four agreements known worldwide so much in all the languages? It's because they work. And I'm here to tell you that they do. I'm passionate about getting them out there in the world. And so in the long and short of this, I am just so happy to share this today, my wisdom of the four agreements in this Women of Wisdom panel. And having said that, I'm ending my speaking today in a very short video to give you that small introduction to the 4 agreements. Thank you so much for visiting me today. You can find me on my website at www.mind-joy.com. In there, you'll have the link if you're interested in any kind of interaction with me as a life coach, or you want to ask more questions about how I live and practice the 4 agreements every day in all different circumstances. And so thank you for having me, and enjoy the rest of our amazing panel, and I'll see you in the question period. Have a great day, and namaste.
Are you happy with the life you're living? Do you greet each day with gratitude simply for the gift of being alive? For most of us, the answer is not a resounding yes. Intuitively, we feel that our lives could be fuller, happier, more meaningful. But where do we begin? Let's begin by exploring the wisdom behind 4 simple agreements that have the power to transform your life to a new experience of freedom, true happiness, and love. The 4 agreements are most accurately described as a way of life or code of conduct, and they're universal in their appeal. Millions of people from all walks of life have used these principles to create a better life. Be impeccable with your word. Don't take anything personally. Don't make assumptions, and always do your best. Why have so many people embraced the 4 agreements? Because they work. By practicing these principles, we immediately begin to experience more joy and less suffering. As humans, we cannot avoid all suffering. We're going to suffer physical pain when we're ill or injured. We're going to suffer emotional pain when we lose someone we love. But there's another kind of suffering that we can avoid. It's the emotional suffering we experience as a result of conflict with other people and conflict within ourselves. It's the suffering we experience because we believe things that aren't even true, because we make assumptions, we take them personally, and we blurt out words that we later regret. This kind of suffering is needless, and yet most of us experience it throughout most of our lives. Have you ever been wide awake in the middle of the night, reliving an unpleasant confrontation with a coworker? You'd like to get a good night's sleep, but your mind is spinning out of control. Soon, you're feeling guilty about an offhanded comment you made to a friend. Then you begin to worry about your relationship, your finances, your health, or a host of other nagging concerns. Have you ever overindulged in food, alcohol, or drugs to avoid facing unpleasant feelings or circumstances? You try to escape from your worries and concerns, your self-judgments and guilt. But how can you escape from your own thoughts? Have you ever experienced the uneasy feeling that you don't measure up to society's standards of beauty or behavior? Have you ever judged yourself for not being smart enough or talented enough, pretty or handsome enough, thin or fit enough, successful or rich enough? All of these ideas and beliefs are rooted in fear. They limit your life, deplete your energy, and contribute to needless suffering. There's a better way to live. The 4 agreements lead you to stop judging mainly yourself and to start practicing another way of life. They have the ability to break thousands of fear-based beliefs and agreements that lead to suffering and drama in your life. They transform your life by changing the way you communicate, not only with other people, but more importantly, with yourself. With practice, the 4 agreements help you to recover the real you, your authentic self. And there's nothing more liberating